Hello, I'm Dr. Ruth Schmidt Neven. I'm a clinical psychologist and a child and adolescent psychotherapist. I was trained at the Tavistock Clinic in London and also worked there for many years. In Australia, where I'm currently based, I was previously the inaugural child psychotherapist at the Royal Children's Hospital, and now I run an independent Centre for Child and Family Development, also based in Melbourne. And I also work as a child and adolescent psychotherapist, and I work as an adult psychotherapist as well. I'm going to talk to you today about time-limited psychodynamic psychotherapy, and I'm going to start with telling you a little bit about how I came into being interested in time-limited psychodynamic psychotherapy. And I'm going to also go on with looking at a bit of a critique of current sort of psychoanalytic models or traditional psychoanalytic models, and then look at some of the research on time-limited psychotherapy with adults as well as with children, and then look at what constitutes the essential core of time-limited psychodynamic psychotherapy, and also looking at some of the key issues that need to be addressed. So I'll just start off by saying that I came into actually formalizing my approach in time-limited psychotherapy almost by accident. In one sense, I suppose one could say I have been practicing time-limited psychodynamic therapy for many years in Australia, both with individual adults as well as with children and their parents. And this also is linked in with the payment arrangements in Australia via the Medicare system, where people get a limited number of sessions. And what I found was that even with a limited number of sessions, it was possible to achieve a considerable amount of change. But what actually prompted me to formalize my understanding and approach was that I heard from my colleagues in the UK that in the NHS and the centres in which they were working, while they had trained as psychoanalytic child psychotherapists, they were being asked to take on more and more cases of time-limited therapy, and seemed to believe, or perhaps were told, that the only mode of time-limited therapy was cognitive behavioral therapy, otherwise known as CBT. And my reaction to that was, I have to confess, somewhat horrified, because that is not the only shop in the high street. CBT is not the only way in which people can benefit from any kind of short-term psychotherapeutic treatment, and that psychotherapy, or what I would call psychodynamic psychotherapy, and just for a moment, want to separate out the difference between psychoanalytic psychotherapy and psychodynamic psychotherapy. In all of my publications and my training, I use the term psychodynamic because I think that psychoanalytic is very specific to a form of treatment. Whereas the psychodynamic approach, which is also focused on treatment, also encompasses family therapy approaches. It encompasses a way in which we can understand the dynamics, for example, of family life. It encompasses a systems approach. It encompasses attachment and bonding. It encompasses a broader field, as well as it can also be applied to organizational and group understanding. So that's why I use the term psychodynamic. So I spoke to my colleagues. I actually gave a talk to the child psychotherapy colleagues in the UK about a time-limited psychodynamic approach. And the other reason that I was very concerned about the possibility of CBT being used too extensively is that I have major reservations about cognitive behavioral therapy being applied in child and psychotherapy work, because it's the focus of CBT is to narrow the field and primarily to eliminate the symptom. Whereas one of